Guys, my story ends with the scariest thing that can happen to somebody. They got shaken up.
Can you imagine? Can you imagine being jostled around?
Their world was shook.
Imagine the worst thing ever happening to you was being jostled.
That's like the greatest fear of an ant. That's like an ant farm's fear.
Can ants even? I don't know if I've ever seen like an ant be shook. You know what I mean, though? Like,
Yo, that's a
they
good.
always seem to kind of have their feet on the ground.
That's a great point.
They got gyro stabilizers. What's going on with them?
Yeah, they're out there, guys.
Their legs are just 4 bird necks. Or I don't know how many legs an ant has, actually.
Wow.
I don't know how many legs. I think it's 6. I think they got 6 legs.
Yeah, why don't we talk about how many?
I'm gonna split the difference. I think 5. I'm gonna think 5.
All right, in the DreamWorks movie Ants,
Yeah.
Woody Allen ant, he had a set of arms and he's had a set of legs, and there's no way he would have been like, this has to be an anatomical correct ant, right? Like he would have insisted.
I don't think I realized there were different ants in the movie Ants. I kind of thought they were all.
What do you mean?
I don't think I realized they were. I don't like. There are different ants because they all just seem like the same ants, you know.
There's like a war. It's like a whole army class thing. They have 6 legs, by the way. Ants have 6 legs.
I've only ever. Do we just have to confirm that ants have 6 legs?
I wanted to double check.
I was really convinced they had 5.
Paul had me going. I was like, yeah, no, they would only need 4. That makes sense. 1 on the front thorax and 1 set on the back.
The
thorax.
fifth leg is their lift-in leg. That's how they carry such heavy stuff.
Oh, it's like in Street Racer, whenever he would Speed Racer. Speed Racer, Speed Racer, whenever he would do that pogo thing, and like
yes.
Jack would just come out of the bottom part of his car.
Yes,
that's what
the pogo leg.
Shoots out.
Yeah, that's how they. When they need to lift something heavy, the pogo leg comes out. You know what? I'm not gonna talk anymore about the pogo leg because I just realized what it kind of seems like.
I feel like your car, and maybe this is just because I drive a Honda Fit, but I feel like your car would just kind of sag around the pogo. Like the pogo would be strong enough, and it would be like trying to flip a not done quesadilla.
Or like a not done pancake.
You try. I mean, that would definitely shake your car up, right? To have a piston with the force to launch a 2,000-pound car. Maybe it's lighter if it's a racing car.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
That would destroy. I mean, imagine being an ant. You're on the road.
Yeah.
And then Racer X, Speed Racer comes by on the Mach 5 and just happens to hit his little piston. That is equivalent of like God deciding you don't exist anymore.
That's like a gamma ray burst right there.
Yeah.
Instant evaporation. Yeah.
If I was Speed Racer and I ever needed to like interrogate a bad guy, I'd be like, instead of driving, like I'm like, hey, you're gonna lean underneath my car, and if you don't answer my questions about where the priceless gem is, I'm gonna shove this piston right into your mouth.
You're getting pogoed.
You're getting pogoed so hard. Your brain will be missed.
That's how I remember Speed Racer being.
Yeah. Then the monkey was like, I was like, I'm gonna feed him to the monkey.
Did Speed Racer ever get involved with Wacky Racers?
No. I wish.
He would have wrecked every one of those bozos because they were unserious buffoons.
Unserious, uncurious. Like it would.
I mean, I don't know. His that monkey and little kid sidekick would probably fit right into Wacky Races.
Yeah, because they're unserious buffoons.
Who's the new? What's the new Wacky Races? Right? Like, because Hanna-Barbera, they tried to bring it back and no one cared. No offense.
Well,
to the team.
I mean, Fast and Furious is the easy answer. Like that's
okay, Kevin.
High five, call yourself a day.
Kevin, I was gonna
but like you gotta have themed gimmicks, right? Like
they do.
That first Fast and Furious, I think there was always a mistake. That first time, in all of their Honda Civics, they had like unique decals on the side where it's like, oh, this one's like the Knight one. It has like a Knight with a Lancer, and there was another one that was like a Jaguar. It's like, okay, this is like their aesthetic.
All right.
Letty is like a Jaguar.
Are you ready for this? Are you ready for this?
Yeah.
Vin Diesel, family stuff. Michelle Rodriguez, punching people.
Yep.
Tyrese Gibson, hot. Jason,
can Letty's Michelle Rodriguez one just be I have amnesia sometimes?
yeah, sure.
It's just a bunch of question marks. That's her decal.
Yeah. No, I want to yes and this, but also I think you guys are going down the wrong road with it being all fast people. It needs to be one fast racer and then other IP in the Wacky Races. It can't all be Fast and the Furious people. That's insane. Are you guys up to date on Fast and the Furious lore?
I've never seen a single Fast and Furious.
Brian O'Connor, aka whatever his real name is. He's
Paul
Brian
Walker.
O'Connor.
Paul Walker, yeah.
Former cop who infiltrated a DVD stealing car pirate ring and that became part of their family.
That is how it started, was DVD stealing.
Stealing DVDs with high stakes, harpooning trucks with tow cables. There's no way those DVDs were worth it, but they did it, right? And then they'd go home and they'd have Coronas and they'd talk about family.
If those guys waited 6 months, they could have gotten into burning DVDs and things would have been way easier.
If those were the anime DVDs of Silver Spoon, then they would be like, you can't get those for less than $200 online.
It's imported Japanese anime. Imagine if Dom was like, I love Card Captor Sakura.
I mean, I can see it. Like, he's got kind of a Tomoya vibe a little bit.
Well, just to clarify, canonically, Brian is still alive in the world of Fast and the Furious, even though his car drove off into the sunset in Fast 7 and it was beautiful. It was very well done. Mm-hmm. He retired. He canonically is still alive. He lives in LA. He is always off screen. And whenever new heists happen, he's like, I'm retired, dog. You don't hear his voice, but his wife, Jordana Brewster, is still like, well, I'm going to get involved. So at some point, they're deep faking him and bringing him back. That's going to happen. They're going to do it. So one Fast and Furious racer is in Wacky Races.
They are the Wacky Races, is what we're saying.
Okay, all right. Well, no. God, no.
All right. Ready? Because I said it earlier. Ludacris is Big Shoes. He is got big shoes, and he races a Flintstones racer in Wacky Races. He's the guy.
I didn't even know Ludacris was in.
You don't know Luda's like. Well, it's funny, I was gonna say Luda's the tech guy. There's multiple tech guys.
I haven't seen Fast and Furious.
Kevin, you got to watch Fast 5. Fast 5 is great.
I feel like Ludacris basically like lives off of Fast and Furious now. I don't know that he does much else other than Fast and Furious.
He was at the Super Bowl.
Yeah, because of Fast and Furious.
Here's what my pitch is there's one car, but all of the members of Fast are in that one car, right?
Okay.
That's the big Wacky Races thing, is usually you got to have side pilots, right? Like the monster wagon had like 3 different monsters all hanging out and throwing like tombstones at people.
Yeah.
So you can have all 12 of the main family all crammed into Dom's like Charger.
Okay.
And then other cars. One is Optimus Prime.
Okay.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
I feel like Chad's just carrying this bit himself. I know.
I just want to know. I just want to get us away from it. It can't just be Fast. It's got to be other cool cars. All right. One is Optimus Prime or Bumblebee. It could be Bumblebee if you want. I think that's more achievable in production. What are the other?
Do this for a while, and Paul and I can come in later.
What are the other iconic modern day car vehicles to put in your modern Wacky Races?
Every time I try to think of a car, I just see a Fast and the Furious car appear in my mind.
What about what is Jesse Pinkman in El Camino and he's really sad?
It's just
someone saw the Breaking Bad movie listening to this and thought that was a very good idea.
He cries and his tears make the ground slicker behind him, and people slip and slide.
He keeps saying he can't keep getting away with this as like an oil slick is in front of him.
Yeah. Okay, he's a good one. I like that addition. Great job.
Okay.
Other famous cars. Jeez. Well, Driver should be in it just for the cool.
Okay, yeah. Ryan Gosling is the driver, right?
Mm-hmm.
He never talks in that movie. Is that correct?
I can't remember, you know?
Okay. I was going to propose he just talks via word bubbles, if that's the thing, right? Like little word bubbles pop up about how it's going.
Every time he opens his mouth, that cool song from the movie just comes out like a speaker. Like his mouth's got a speaker in it. There's something about you, boy.
I'm actually running out of cars. I'm sorry. I really forced this bit to be other cars. All I really had was Transformers is also in it.
I was ready to give the whole thing to Fast and Furious franchise.
One is Tony Hawk on a skateboard.
Oh,
right?
Tony!
He's just able to keep speed with the other car.
One of them is Tony Soprano singing the songs in his car.
Are we just making HBO cart? Or are we just making Golden Age of Television cart? Because I
don't know. I mean, just like modern day Golden Age, right?
Well, then that's not Sopranos, though.
All right, well, sure. I think they can bring him, right? They could say
he can be a special guest. He can be an unlockable.
Sure. Okay.
Cool.
Yeah. What's good in multiverses? You guys know? Everyone's playing multiverses. Clearly. So one is Batman in his Batmobile, right? That makes perfect sense.
Wait.
Are we just doing
You're just
WB
saying
stuff now?
Yeah, you're just saying
Well,
popular
no,
things.
you're the one who threw that out there first.
This is in shambles. There's
What's
no
wrong?
theme
Why
to
is
this
that
kart
in-
racer.
You guys were okay with Tony Hawk, but now throwing Batman in
I
the
wasn't okay with Tony Hawk.
I want Tony Hawk to be in, or I want Tony Hawk and Tony Soprano. I want, you know what? All Tonys. It's
Tony Hawk can sketch on the back of Tony Soprano's car.
The show's called Only Tony, and it's all Tonys.
Tony, yeah, okay. Tony Stark, Iron Man. He's got an
Tony
Iron Man
Stark.
car. He's got that one car from Iron Man 2 when he drove with a big old model of the Stark Expo on the side with some strawberries. That iconic scene from Iron Man 2.
Is this Ready Player 3? This is just sounding like Ready Player 3 at this point.
Ready Tony 3.
Can I tell you guys that I am not reading Ready Player 2, but I have been listening to the podcast 372 pages that we'll never get back, where they covered that book.
Wait. Go, unpack all this. I don't know what you're talking about.
Okay, so Ready Player 1 was a book by Ernest Cline.
I know that. Okay, got that. Caught up.
And then he wrote a sequel book, Ready Player 2, which is just What If I Did That Again, and hopefully you guys all love it.
Uh-huh.
And a podcast hosted by Mike Nelson from Mystery Science Theater, and one of his coworkers reads bad books. I guess I'm making this off-topic bant about it, just a plug for another podcast. Where they have just been reading through Ernest Cline's books and other bad books, and I've been hearing the plot summary of Ready Player 2.
I thought you were saying there was a podcast that was like going through like page by page or something and reading like a page an episode.
It's like chapter by chapter, just high-level summary. So
Okay.
I just wanted to share with you guys what really shocked me.
Okay.
Beyond, oh god, they go to a Prince planet, game planet, and a John Candy planet. Or I'm like, I hate this.
Why are there planets now?
Well, I think in the world of Ready Player 1, all IP and games are like self-containing little planet hubs.
Okay. Hub worlds,
So you're like, oh, I want to go to John Hughes' planet, and then it's like a planet of VR. I don't know. Do you want to pretend like you're in Ferris Bueller? It's a really bleak version of consumerism.
Okay, here we go. We're just going right into this book. We're going right into this book because this is a perfect segue. Not everything needs to be connected. Stop connecting things. Don't connect things. Just let them be a thing. Just have it be.
Just let them all race in a wacky races to see who's the fastest. That's all you got to do.
You don't eat every meal and go, hold on, I saved a piece from my last meal so that I can bring it to this meal so that it's connected, so that it feels like I'm having one long, delicious meal. Each meal can be good on its own. I'm done
Welcome
with
to
it.
Goosebuds.
I'm
Welcome
done
to
with
Goosebuds.
Paul, are you all right, man?
I'm sorry, I'm done with it.
I broke Paul. By the way, so in Ready Player 2, they go to a Sonic the Hedgehog planet. It made me mad. Anyway,
welcome to Goosebuds.
Welcome to Goosebuds, the podcast where we give R.L. Stine and other YA novels the hard-hitting critique they deserve. That's right, I called R.L. Stine a novel. I think he is a sentient book.
You called R.L. Stine himself a novel.
Yes, I called him a novel accidentally, and I'm just rolling with it. I called him.
You know
book.
what? Okay, yeah.
He's a little book with glasses. He's like, I have a story to tell you.
You know what his name stands for? It stands for Real Literature Stine.
Whoa, that's what it stands for.
We sure read a literature. By the way, I'm one of your hosts, Chad Quandt.
I'm one of your hosts, Kevin Cole.
And I am the your host, Paul.
And we have read, if last book was Goosebumps Infinity War, this is Goosebumps Endgame.
Yeah. That's the only way I understand things.
Yeah.
Yes.
Is through the lens of the Marvel.
I'm sorry if you're a new listener and that I shocked you by flying off the handle. I'm sorry if you're an old listener. You know what you got into. But I'm still sorry.
I was a new listener, and I was excited to check out this discussion about Goosebumps books, and then they just talked about wacky races for 15 minutes.
Yeah,
really
a new listener was excited to jump in to the end of a 12-part series.
You never know.
Because I will point out this book does end with two words that like made me feel so incredible to read, which is the end. And then it went right into a preview for the next book after.
Did you think for a moment you were done?
Yeah, I did. I did think I was done. I thought that.
There's even a little blurb was like, and anyone doing podcasts about this series, this is the last one.
You're done. Your job is done.
So we had a pretty chaotic vibe to start, but I feel a little somber talking about this one.
Yeah?
Yeah?
Go
on.
It's I actually do have some good feelings about this book. I gotta be honest.
Okay.
Like,
yeah.
Interesting. Okay. Can I add on to Kevin while you're talking about having feeling wanting this to be over? I did read online, according to the wiki, Scholastic originally had this book titled as, instead of Streets of Panic Park, as The Last Horror.
Really? Are you making this is a bit?
No, that's on Goosebumps Goosebumps wiki, which is never wrong.
No.
Scholastic's website stated this book would be titled The Last Horror, which I think this is like 2009, 2010. RL's got his giant pile of cash. Maybe he's like, this is it. I'm over.
I would have gone with like the Menace of Panic Park or something like that. Like, it was very Menace heavy and not very street heavy.
I literally was gonna say that they do walk around on the streets of Panic Park a little bit, but literally nothing of consequence happens. Anytime that anything of consequence happens, it's because they've walked into a house or room within Panic Park. Every time they're on the street, they're just talking about the next house or room that they're going to walk into.
This Goosebumps cover has Slappy riding a burning carousel horse, and I don't think that happens.
No, nothing on this cover happens.
No, but it might, it might have happened. At some point.
I appreciate the cover now that Kevin has said that, because I never know what's going to happen. Maybe something else will happen with this book that I don't know about. That's a fun surprise to think about.
There's all kinds of stuff that happens in this book. We do have to follow around a gaggle of 16 children.
16.
Yeah, every time they said 16 kids, like, there's no way there's that many.
I was also going like, no fucking way.
My brain can't process that many kids. Like, I can't genuinely picture that many standing as a group.
But I did think they did a pretty good job, or this was obviously a group effort. RL and the Voldemort face on the back of RL's head did a good job of distinguishing the kids that he wanted to distinguish, I guess. Luke is supposed to be one half of Luke and Lizzie, but Luke does nothing but poop his pants this whole book.
Yeah, Luke is Luke is the externalized fear of Lizzie Morris, basically.
Yeah.
Luke and Lizzie, let's do a quick recap for anyone who has not just recently read this book.
Yeah,
Luke and Lizzie are protagonist OGs, the original survivors of Horrorland, have returned to Horrorland because of an anonymous source that I swore this book retroactively changed.
Monster X.
Why?
That was not in the last book, right? There was no mention of Monster X.
That was in like 6 or 7 books ago. Monster X was mentioned. That made me so mad to see that come back again.
But that wasn't to Luke and Lizzie. That was like in one of the other kids' stories.
Yeah, no, that was in one of the other kids' Horrorland episodes. Monster X.
When was Ned mentioned?
Who fucking knows?
Who is Ned?
Yeah.
And it's like, and by the way, Ned was Monster X.
Who the fuck is Ned? Yeah, I don't know.
I guess spoilers, if you're invested.
Spoilers for this book that we're covering?
We read all of these books, right? We read them. And then we talked about them.
Okay.
Or maybe we read 90% of these books.
I'd maybe skim a page when we were just describing clothes.
Yeah, when it's there's a couple pages in this one that like were pretty easy to just kind of go down when it was just people insulting each other line after line after line. When it got into insult chains.
Yes.
Okay, I did look up. So Ned is the monster who gave Brittany Crosby a blank card.
Yeah.
Oh.
And then he's also mentioned on a website, escapehorrorland.com.
Oh,
and
we didn't play the ARG.
ARG. And then Horrorland Survival Guide, which I guess is another book that was maybe hidden within here. It actually isn't written by R.L. Stine. It says authors unknown and Matthew D. Payne.
That seems like a fake name, Matthew D. Payne.
We needed to read this. Why didn't someone put this in the list?
I thought the monster that gave whatever kid that magic key card that was just a plot device.
That's okay.
6 books ago. I thought that was Byron.
That is Byron, but this is another. I don't know what the blank card. I do not remember the blank card, but Brittany Crosby gets a blank card according to the Wikipedia.
Okay.
I don't. She's Revenge of the Living Dummy. I think. Yeah. And Molly Malloy's best friend. I don't remember the blank card at all.
I will say also, I had to keep going back, like, who is this kid? If RL didn't remind me, listeners, we really take this seriously, right? This is
of course we do.
Hard hitting critiques. These kids are so interchangeable. If RL in text doesn't say, "Oh, the one from Don't Be a Monster" or whatever, I'm like, oh, okay. I don't know who the rest of these kids are.
Once you've gone beyond a baker's dozen of kids, it doesn't matter anymore.
But what I was going to say was, I do think the ones he wants to distinguish, he does make an effort this time.
Yeah,
like,
Michael...
Billy is ghostified.
Yeah.
Michael gets a monster head, Voldemort head. Why does he keep doing Voldemort heads? Why does he keep doing Voldemort heads?
I was thinking of Zephod Beeblebrox. I was getting that vibe.
What the hell did you just say?
Restaurant at the end of the universe.
Hitchhiker's Guide, yeah. Zephod Beeblebrox. Yeah. He's the president of the galaxy, and he's got 2 heads, and I'm pretty sure that's in the book, not just the movie.
Okay. I actually, guys, crazy thing. I've started that book, but I've never finished it.
Same.
Fuckball. It's so funny.
Same with Terry Pratchett. Like, I always kind of start and then I trail off.
Terry Pratchett, I can get through. Terry Pratchett, I really like, actually, but for some reason, I just never have clicked with the writing of.
If we want to read some Terry Pratchett books on this show,
I would chow down on some Pratchett or Douglas Adams. Either one, I would be.
I don't want to. I just wanted to say I don't dislike Douglas Adams, but I don't really connect super hard with it. I feel like I missed the window.
I got in trouble in high school for reading it, and I got busted because I was laughing too loud.
Hell yeah!
I got the Snickers in algebra class.
Hell yeah!
It's a good book.
Yeah.
I had a thought last night while I was reading this that I was like, I could be reading a good book.
Yeah, I've been thinking that this whole year.
Kevin's on the floor again.
Just not yet, but you'll know.
Well, look, Kevin, we're done. We'd finished the end. This
is
series.
The last book. Apparently, it's called. Yeah, this is the end of it.
Yeah, the end. But then,
Luke and Lizzie have fallen an anonymous tip on the Crime Busters hotline.
Yeah, explain this to me, Chad. Because why?
No, I don't know. I've tried. They've always been very vague about how they were given a tip that kids were at Horrorland, and then I guess given the honest to go and intercede. But they didn't have a plan. They didn't bring, like, gear or anything. And also, as someone had pointed out on our last episode upload, I think the biggest crime of this whole thing is the existence of this book and Escape from Horrorland, the book, basically makes the DreamWorks CD FMV game Escape from Horrorland non-canon.
Wow.
Right?
Well, I mean, I haven't played it, so I don't know. I mean...
Yeah, no, I know. We need to do it at some point. Maybe we make that a Patreon bonus or something. But, like, it is... That's their return. That's like, we've been here before. Mm-hmm. Now we are unveiling the next level of what Horrorland is. And this book is doing that kind of again.
Well, by the way it ends, Chad, ultimately this book ends and it is like, well, nothing happened.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like all of the events.
Let's never talk about this again.
They literally, Luke and Lizzie say that they'll never explain it to their parents or the reader of the book ever again. Yep. What happened?
Which is weird because Luke and Lizzie's parents, I believe, know about Horrorland. Yeah. Not only do they know that they went to it, they survived Horrorland together.
Right.
So they would be the most cool parents to be like, yeah, hey, we went back and it's not a reality show anymore. Now it's a real thing, I guess.
It's weird because I don't even know how to feel about Horrorland after this, right?
I know exactly how to feel about horror.
Well, the Horrorland aspect of it ultimately didn't matter. It was all a ploy. It was apparently all a lie just to get them into Panic Park. And let's get this Byron crap out of the way. Byron was the least helpful, most obvious bad guy. You're like, the whole time you were like, this guy sucks. Even if he's trying to help them, he's doing a terrible job at it.
Yeah, trust me. Just trust me. I'm Byron. Trust me.
But also, the lot of this book in the beginning, and again, this is all of our 16 kids. I don't know if Luke and Lizzie counted the 16 or not. Might be 18. Is being basically just harassed by the Menace.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Who
is R.L. Stine. Is just R.L. Stine.
Yeah, it's supposed to be. This is like R.L. Stine's Thanos. I'm sorry to keep doing stupid Avengers.
No, it's true. That's what it is.
This is like clearly his like, oh, if you've been reading this whole series, like this is the big guy. Like I could not. Yeah. I could not stop laughing at how many times the Menace would just go, I'll do anything. I'll do anything to get a scare. Like a fake head, a fake rubber head of one of your friends. Was that scary?
How did he get that made that fast?
He had his team, right? He had his team working on that for weeks ahead of time.
And it wasn't just like for a shot. Like Robbie Schwartz held that and inspected that head long enough to be like, oh, it's rubber.
Yeah.
So like, it wasn't like a prop. It was like a legitimate simulation of a human head in rubber.
But also, even in that moment, the Menace is making his intentions clear, which is, I just want to scare you all the more than you've ever been scared.
What about the shadow vacuum? What about the shadow vacuum?
Yeah, do you guys want to... Kevin, explain the shadow vac.
I thought that was going to be Chekhov's shadow vacuum. I thought
you think they were going to suck him up with a shadow vac at the end?
I thought we were going to suck the Menace with the shadow vacuum.
Nothing matters. Nothing matters.
You can only suck up... So there are shadow ghosts of previous Panic Park attendees when the park either closed down or had an accident in 70s. I wrote down this part of the book because in 2 paragraphs, RL invalidates the origin of Panic Park.
Okay, go ahead. Please explain.
I'm
His most sacred place.
Right. Well, like, this is building this up, right? We're like, oh, you think Horrorland's scary? Panic Park's where the real shit is. Yeah. And it was there first, so really it's the cooler one.
Yeah, like, shouldn't Horrorland be that? Except in a series called Horrorland?
Yeah. I would feel like if I was a kid reading this, I would be upset that I was basically, like...
You're hoodwinked. Here's the thing. Like, I know this is a children's book, and I want to hear what you're saying, but I just want to lay this out. This book, you can just feel it as you're going along that it was like there was never any plan. There was no plan. There was no outline. It was just, all right, gotta write the next book. What has happened already? Now they're in this park because I need to get them out of Horrorland. And this part's the real problem, and there's no like true metaphysical reason of why it exists. It just exists because bad thing happened here, and it created a pocket universe for some reason. Mm-hmm. And
yes,
and the only way to get out, the only way to get out of pocket universe is fear. So make scary things happen until enough fear happens, and then that'll explain the thing that I didn't explain.
Fear, and he has a kitschy fear meter, which I kept picturing like when you watch like PBS and they have a fun drive, and there's like a little thermometer, that you fill up with like red. There's like I just pictured Byron or a little monster like scrawling it in with a red Sharpie.
Yeah, I kept saying it as like kind of like a Batman television series style, like cornball, like prop, like some massive prop, like colorful.
No,
prop.
there's like Joker vibes to this guy for sure too. Where he's like,
But as far as like a device goes, like the fear meter is okay.
It's the best tension building device I think he's put in a book in a long while.
Really?
I actually do.
Well, yeah. I mean, it's bad, but yes, it's one of the better devices he's put in a book.
I think
I felt nothing.
No. I didn't feel anything. But what I'm saying is, I think the fact that he actually had a ticking time bomb and like a literal like. I was actually afraid at a certain point that he wasn't going to make it go to 99. I really thought for a split second he wasn't. And like he finally did it at the end. I was like, thank God he actually did it.
I think if I was R.L. Stine, I would have made the fear meter the exact page count of whatever page you were on.
Oh yeah.
I've been watching Mob 100, which does this, right? It does this plot device. As things happen, you just see his number go up to 100, and when it does, he's going to like fuck up some shit.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
be very into random cuts of we are now at 87. I interestingly enough, I think because the Menace tells you, the viewer and the kids, what his intention is, I felt no stakes because it's like he doesn't even seem to want to kill the kids because if they're dead, they're not scared. But like then you're going through a fake haunted house.
In a darker story, like not for kids, like you could do a fun game with that. Be like, okay, well, I need to maximize fear, but if I kill somebody, the fear ends. But if I don't kill anyone, the fear kind of goes. It's like a fun little trolley problem, you know?
Yeah. But as soon as he if maybe near the end of the book, for example, like so he starts out strong with, I have dragged away the psychic twins, which to your guys' point, RL had no plan. RL never explains. Go ahead, Kevin.
But confirms that they're rats, like we said they were going to be.
But they don't. But they don't know they're rats. Like, they seem to genuinely not know, And it was like missing. This has happened in sci-fi stories all the time. All I needed was some hand wavy from the Menace of like, yes, I had Dr. Mind Gum, whatever his name was, Dr. Cranium.
Dr. Cranium, yeah.
Plant a psychic thing in your head where like you, like the Manchurian Candidate, didn't know you were working for me because he was messing with your brain anyway. They seem to genuinely go, no, we got our psychic powers from the machine, the Madame Doom's machine, and when we read Lizzie and Luke's mind last book, they seem to be lying, and we are shocked that we're being dragged away.
Or it's Dr. Cranium and the little weirdo old man guy in disguise. They just use psychic powers to disguise themselves.
That would have been great too. That would have been way cool. I think it was very much RL realized he now put two psychics in this story where Byron was lying and he was like, well, fuck, what do I do? Like, what do I have?
And they were in this moment where the Menace was leaning over them, and I'm like, okay, well, Luke, what was his name? What was the psychic lifter kid?
Jackson. They're Jack and Jill.
Jackson.
Yeah.
Okay,
Jack and
that's right. Jack
Jill.
and Jill. Jackson. I was like, okay, yeah, let's psychically lift him and throw him away. Get him out of here. You know, like, but he had to remove that power. And that kept happening throughout it, right? Is like, he would occasionally remember that he had this psychic power, use it, and then be like, oh crap, I got to get rid of that. It's too powerful.
And then the villains joining later wouldn't be so weird, right? Like, the cast of marketable characters joining forces with
the Dark Avengers. Before we get to Slappy and his friends, because I think that is the coolest part of this book, right? Potentially, is I just want to really focus on what I struggled with was, all right, Jack and Jill have been dragged off screen, presumably they're being eaten or thrown into the bone crusher from Nothing But Trouble.
Yeah, you mess with Kurt, you're going in the grinder.
Yeah, right?
Like in Good Burger.
So then he pulls out, we already mentioned, Jillian's head on a platter.
Yeah.
Yep.
As a sign of his power.
Right.
The kids are scared. As soon as he goes, nah, it's not real. Why? Like if your entire operation is to scare these kids as much as possible, why are you keep pulling back the curtain and going, no, don't worry, guys. We're having fun here at Universal Studios Florida.
He keeps doing it. This whole thing is just the same gag of Horrorland. Put them on a ride and shake them up and get them a little nervous and then pull away right at the last second. And I don't know.
That makes him a good avatar of what Horrorland is, though.
That's true. That's true. It is. Yeah.
But Horrorland had the threat of like these sometimes might be real, right? Like the Doom slide, you might actually slide to your doom forever.
Uh-huh.
You might actually drown in the river.
Yeah.
Partially because of park negligence or whatever, right? It always seemed like the kids barely got out of there.
Yeah.
This is like a guy going, he puts our 16 kids. It's so crazy. Can we call it a group of 16 kids a Horrorland?
Sure.
Right? Like
one Horrorland.
Posse.
Yeah.
One Horrorland. Very, very important customers. Special guests.
Special guests.
He puts them essentially in like a Universal 4D ride for the first part of this book.
Yeah.
Okay. Before we get there, because that part's like turbo fucked up, but I'm not surprised we glanced over this because RL certainly does. The bracelets.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, they're going to suck away their fear. It's going to feed off their fear.
They're also the Battle Royale bracelets.
Yeah, but they
or
heat
necklaces.
up when you're afraid. But we never get that as like a sensory thing ever.
Oh, yeah, that's a good point.
I think they do mention a couple times. I do think there are like an occasional mention of feeling it on their wrist.
If it's on your wrist and like it's measuring your fear, like there's these like hedging his bets too much with this imagery, where he ultimately decides he's going to go with like the fearmometer or whatever. But like, what the bracelets are cooler because like they'll burn themselves into your flesh if you try to take them off, and they'll heat up, and it's like. Yeah. Like associating fear with a burning sensation rather than with just like a thermometer going up, I think is way better. It's just he doesn't do that because he forgets.
He has too many things going on. It's so crazy in this book. There is a countless list of new things being introduced constantly. And it's so emblematic of the 16 kids. It's like, why do we have 16 kids? You can do this fun story with 4 kids. Not even, you could do this with 2, Luke and Lizzie.
Yeah, or show them like, the other 12 of those 16 are often, we kind of did that a little bit with like the 2 that were stuck on the roller coaster earlier. Have them like off in Panic Park. They're in cages. They're captive. So Luke and Lizzie and two other chosen kids from the Horrorland series can team up and try to save everyone. Like
I thought we were gonna split the party when Billy ran off before he got ghostified. I thought we were gonna split the party, and then every kid would get like a chapter, and I'd be like, that would solve it. Like that would be good.
That's kind of what last book. No, I would like that too, Kevin. That's kind of what last book was with the
gauntlet,
the maze corridor of just like, all right, there's some egg monsters. Time for Mike or Matt or whatever his name is to step up and face these things.
I just think like RL needs like a firmware update or something. Like he's.
I wonder. It makes me really wonder what happened with this, because it feels like they were. It feels like they got excited about this idea, right? Like as someone who's written stuff in groups of people, it feels like they were like, "Oh my god, this idea is genius! We're gonna have 16 books and 16 kids, and we're gonna, like whatever number it is, and they're all gonna come together, and we're gonna have this huge, epic storyline at the end." And then like nobody realized it wasn't working, and they were just like, you know what? We'll just figure it out on the fly. Let's not restart. Let's not, and they just kept barreling forward with this thing. And I mean, I guess that's the nature of all Goosebumps books, is they were just being produced at such a rapid pace that you couldn't even take a second to realize that wasn't working.
This takes advantage of the imaginative nature of children as this is completely it does. It's complete.
No, I agree. It's just a very funny statement.
It's terrible. It's totally disrespectful to kids and their intelligence, but it takes advantage of their imaginative nature. And they're like, okay, well, maybe the next one will be better. Okay, I don't really see where it's going, but like, I'm kind of new here, so like, maybe I just didn't get it because I'm a kid. Like, there's a lot.
It is sure hoping the readers will fill in the blanks. And Kevin, I think you and I were talking before about another piece of media where it's like the author wanted you to give them the benefit of the doubt, and I was like, you haven't. I don't know. At this point in the day, you haven't earned it. Like, my time is valuable. You got to bring it, man. I felt so little passion from R.L. Stine in this book. Like there's no character. There's zero character details to any of them.
There's no character. Literally I made the joke at the beginning. Literally 9 out of the 10 scares in this book are them being shaken up, which in its own way is kind of hilarious, because it's like kids are getting bashed against walls, their heads are getting hit into grounds, they're vomiting everywhere. Like, these kids are getting fucked up, which is kind of funny.
When they're placed in the theater to watch horror movie exposition dialogue, and the chairs are alive and wrap them up like Cherry from Pee-wee's Playhouse, that could have been scary.
It could have been, but like literally every time, like to your point earlier, is like they almost never solve the scare in front of them themselves. It usually just ends, and they're like, well, that was messed up, and then they move on to the next one where it happens to them again, and it keeps daisy chaining together them getting fucked up over and over and over again. They never have any sort of solutions that they come up with on their own. None of the scares.
I mean, true to life, honestly. Like, that's just kind of like what living is right now.
That's true. You know what? Maybe this is like
2025 Panic Park.
Kevin, this is like a neo-realist book, I guess.
Yeah. It's like, why is no one learning or changing? It's like, yeah, that's interesting.
I laid in bed last night, my friends, thinking about what character arcs you could give to just Luke and Lizzie. Like,
yeah.
All right.
I think this book is taking advantage of our imaginative nature. Like, now we're doing the work for it.
No, I was literally trying to the same way I had to kind of fill in the gaps of like, why would the psychic only not believe that Luke and Lizzie are lying? It's requiring me to fill in those gaps, and I don't want to do that. I was thinking about like Luke and Lizzie. You could have them be like, well, we went to Horrorland before, and we know how terrifying it is. We feel sympathy for these kids, and so there's like frustration that these kids are being kind of like versions of them when they first went and not listening to them. There could be anger at these kids for falling for it, and then like that's causing them to break away from the group because they were listening. I don't know. I just feel like there's so many ways you could have a relatable child teenage protagonist and use any part of it as opposed to just, and then we got we're going to watch videos of the creation of Panic Park, which I don't know if you guys have it.
Why the movie theater? Why the like the dog chair is creepy. Like, that's like creepy.
That was the best part. The dog chair was the best part.
I don't want to sit in something that's alive. Like, good job on that, RL. Like, that's like, that goes way deeper and more creepy than anything.
Yeah. Than any like visual movie that's supposed to terrify them does, right?
Yeah, and then we have just a movie of a roller coaster, and it's like, this is a roller coaster that kids died on. Why are we showing them a movie if we have like literal magic in Panic
Put
Park?
them on the roller coaster.
Yeah.
It's
Is
what I
that
mean.
too-
He's putting them on the 4D ride as opposed to the actual ride. It's crazy.
It's weird. It's like he's trying. Again, I think he's like caught up in the Horrorland amusement park thing where he's like, well, everything has to be a ride, and it's like, no, you're in real horror. Like, literally, the last book we were in, actually had the real horrors. And I gotta say, I know we kind of went through it, and like we're like, actually, this one kind of stunk. I still think that was the best one because he actually made real, like when they're walking through the maze and the masks are there, like as physical, gross blobs floating around, like making noises. An actual scary image was created, and I think Dog Chair in this one is kind of a scary.
Added to the iconic monsters of Goosebumps, the Dog Chair.
Dog Chair.
The more I think about Dog Chair, the more fucked up it is.
Dog Chair and Shadowvac are the two greatest creations he had in this.
We didn't even describe what Shadowvac was. Is the menace early on just to prove. What was it? One of the shadows just doesn't want to work for him anymore. The shadow
does want to work for him. He just doesn't. He doesn't have enough hustle, so he decides to kill one of them.
Right. He just decides to vacuum him up, and we never know what that means.
It's so funny. Remember my call in the last book where I said kill a kid? That was where he could have killed a kid. That was the moment he could have killed a kid, and he
Billy
didn't.
Gets turned into a shadow shade because he touches them. Suck up Billy.
Suck
right?
up Billy.
Like, kill Billy deep.
Yeah, they should have killed Randall in that one.
I
Nobody.
don't even remember who Randall is.
Yeah, you don't remember Randall? That's because I made him up.
Oh. At this point, when the menace who is good is like, I'll do anything. Like, okay, dude, you're starting to come across like creepy in not a good way.
Yeah.
You keep saying anything. Before he sends them to the theater exposition room to learn about the history of Panic Park, that he's already told them. If you guys noticed, one of his talking heads, because he has two heads, says, "Enough yapping, show, don't tell."
Yeah, so if he's RL, is the other head his editor? Like,
yeah, but then he also proceeded to tell again after showing.
Yeah,
he shows the video of the roller coaster, so you're like, oh, I guess this was the point of the tragic set of Panic Park.
Yeah,
and this is where I wanted
what the heck happened? He made a park. The Menace made a park. He killed a lot of people in the park, and then the park, because he killed people in it, got sucked into a pocket dimension.
I saved this part because I needed to talk to you about it. This is after this video, and he talks about how like his experiment, his park rides were too cool, too scary
because he killed people.
Because
guns are too scary. Yeah, we get it. Okay.
Roller coaster. Got it. Tower to nowhere. Side note. All towers are to nowhere.
Damn.
There's never a tower to somewhere.
Damn.
A tower just goes up. That's why it's a tower.
But you know what? I was thinking of the SCP of the stairway that never ends. And I was like, a good horror writer could have made that. And I guess that's just Doomslide. That's just Doomslide, but up.
Yeah. Upward Doomslide. Yeah.
Yeah, this is what the Menace, who at this point I was just picturing as like a dorky Reddit joker in like a trench coat and top hat. Looking like a bad DeviantArt character.
Yeah.
I would love to look up DeviantArt of the Menace later. Goes, my experiments. Oh, my phone.
You won't. I don't think you'll even find it.
No, I looked. While I was reading about him and his second face appeared, I was like, I gotta see how people made this into an image. And I went to the wiki page for Goosebumps, and there is no art of the Menace because I don't think anyone cares to see what he would actually look like.
There's got to be some on DeviantArt. There's got to be.
I don't know, man.
I don't. There's one of him as a wolf. There's one of him being inflated, but
I found one of them. And no offense to this artist on DeviantArt, this is just the mayor from Nightmare Before Christmas with his spinning head. That's all this is. Like
I was picturing the mayor from that one Carlstown or whatever, like the.
Oh, I know what you're talking about. Yeah, the one that we watched the TV show. It was a TV episode only.
Oh, yeah. He should be the Menace. That guy was cool.
I was imagining the Malignant creature. James Wan's Malignant, the creature from that. That's what I was imagining.
I kept picturing high schoolers who dress up like the Joker and go to school as the Joker and go, I'm the Joker, baby, is what I was picturing.
That's more fun.
So this is what the Menace says after he's shown this video. My experiments with fear and reality went too far. Something went wrong, guys.
Something went wrong,
guys. He's very cool with them.
Yeah.
Something went wrong, guys. The fear level, in capitals, in the park was so high, it hurled us into another reality. All right, that's the first origin.
I'm with you for that. Fear is measurable.
Sure,
There's
that's fine. Yeah.
Sure, fear broke reality.
Yep.
Yeah,
Okay.
okay.
That's
He
fine.
sighed. Yes, I closed Panic Park, and then my beautiful park went spinning away, whirling away to a parallel universe. The world moved on. The years passed, but we stayed in 1975. I think that is a different origin of I had to close the park, and its memory faded and became a ghost park.
What does this have to do with Horrorland?
Yeah, exactly. It's scarier, Kevin, and it was there first. It was on the land first, and Horrorland. It's like a property dispute with Horrorland.
It's the most boring horror property dispute.
You know, in Yakuza, you guys know how like one of the major storylines of Yakuza is a massive fight across all of these clans over a small back alley plot of land because all of these different like billionaires need it to change Yokohama.
Mm-hmm.
This is that.
Okay.
Paul, you
This
don't
is
fucking know. I don't know either.
I was able to figure it out.
Yeah.
It's an iconic little concrete alleyway that is the key to Yakuza.
I don't think I've gotten a single Chad reference this episode.
Listen.
I'm so sorry, Kevin.
He laid it out well enough that I was able to, through context clues, understand what he was talking about.
Kiri was like, what is so important about this place? Why was someone killed over it? Because it's all about everything. It's all about property value, Kevin. It's a Chinatown. It's Who Framed Roger Rabbit. It's all about property value. It's the real villain.
Yeah. Bob Hoskins is in that one.
So anyway, I just think those are two slightly conflicting origin points.
I mean,
Either
sure,
at the moment of the accident, they shifted realities, or he closed it down and it faded away into a ghost memory of the previous park.
Okay.
And then Horrorland was like, well, there's all this land here. I guess we'll make another spooky Horrorland here.
Okay, if either of those things is true, if either of those is the reality of what he intended, okay, cool. So this happened, and a scary park got stuck somewhere, and these kids got pulled into it they got tricked into being pulled into it so that he could scare them because he needs to scare outside people enough. He needs to bring people into the park to unfear it through fear. Okay, great. So we finished the task, right, of trying to fear these kids. The kids overcome it. The park is stuck there forever. We've been watching all these people who got trapped in the park because of the Menace's fear tactics, and their ghosts are stuck there. They just still die in there because all the kids get out, but they leave everybody behind in the park. So all these people who were like, I guess, pulling our sympathy strings throughout these most recent run of books, fuck them, I guess, right? Like, what's that all about?
Yeah, they all get locked in.
They just get locked in.
Including the sad cat.
Yeah. Oh, man, sad cat.
Also, unless the Menace has some sort of like, I want my park as is to be restored, which maybe that's part of it. It seems like he can just go back to modern reality, right? Like we are seeing these kids and Byron come and go from Panic Park to Horrorland, and that's why mirrors are banned in Horrorland. Is like Horrorland's aware that it transports you to the ghosts of a previous amusement park. Why isn't Horrorland doing anything about
right,
this?
And if you can escape, if you're able to just walk through a mirror, don't go back, bro. You're good. Go make a new park. Sunk cost fallacy, bro. Don't forget about it. Let that one go. You can make a new one.
If the Menace was going for like a comic book, like you know what, in Marvel they do this where the realities have an incursion event. Dragon Ball Super does the same thing. If there's two competing realities and only one can win, and now all of these characters are either like, I want my reality to win at the expense of all these millions of other people dying. If you were going to do that, and the Menace was like, I'm going to kill everyone at Horrorland in reality. My tower to nowhere will replace the Doom Slide, and the unknown runner of Horrorland, whoever that Jeff Bezos motherfucker is, he'll be killed, eviscerated in the moment my tower replaces him. I could kind of get it. Dude, just otherwise step into the mirror, get a job at Horrorland, work your way up through the ranks, Mr. Menace.
The problem is any of this requires some semblance of actual motivation and reason for why this is happening. The problem is there's been no thought as to why these are actually happening. They're just a series of events occurring in front of us that are supposed to be scary. That's literally, and that's like what a lot of the worst Goosebumps books have been, right? Where it's just like, here's some kids, a scary thing happened, and then more scary things happened until they stopped happening. The end. Oh wait, the scary thing's still there. Boo! That's the end of the book. That's the worst that a Goosebumps book can be is that, and that's what this book and the whole everything leading up to it has been. Literal nihilistic nonsense throughout the entire process.
So what does that make our show? Is the thing.
Well, no, because there's good ones. There's good ones, right? Like we've experienced good ones.
Not this year.
No. This series itself has.
Wasn't there one you guys liked from this batch? I can't recall a single one.
I don't think it was worth like what we've been through, honestly.
No, this one.
I've been trying to get us going all this last year of like, I know guys, it sucks, but like, we're getting to Horrorland. We're going to get to Horrorland.
Yeah, I remember.
Grapes of Wrath. We're going to get to California and everything's going to be okay. All the jobs are there. We're going to be fine.
I feel like there was some good ones in this one. I did like Escape from Horrorland to a certain point. I thought it was actually pretty good because when we
I had high hopes at the beginning. I was like, I like the intrigue. This could be interesting.
Yeah.
But yeah, he just kind of proved to us over and over and over again that he doesn't fucking care. Like this
one just feels extremely nihilistic. I think he had some moments in Escape from Horrorland where he kind of got it working. But I'm looking through the other ones that we have read.
Yeah, can I read you guys titles and just tell me your gut instinct? Do you have any positive memory of it?
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah, let's do it.
All right, number 1, Revenge of the Living Dummy.
No.
Slappy was there.
Creep from the Deep.
Nope.
Pirates.
Monster Blood for Breakfast.
I feel like that one might have been good.
I can't tell you a single thing that happened in it.
Is that the eggs?
I don't think it's the eggs. Is it the eggs? No,
well, eggs was the previous series.
That's my friends call me Monster, right?
That's what my friends call me Monster. Monster Blood is Matt Daniels?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's confusing. There's a Matt and a Mike. I did have a thought of, hey RL, maybe some non like Anglo-Saxon white names would be really great. Like,
too many Bible names.
I would love a Siddharth. I would love
sure.
a Nisha,
sure,
like
anything.
in there, just to help me like distinguish these characters.
Too spicy for RL.
Okay. Scream of the Haunted Mask.
Had some stuff, kind of Halloween-y.
Yeah, I think the Halloween ones tend to work for me, at least in that there's.
I can't remember a detail.
Look, I'll be honest about all Goosebumps books. Once we finish reading them, my brain pretty much washes all of the details out of it. They pretty much go.
I do remember this next one. I do remember Dr. Maniac versus Robbie Schwartz. I remember that one pretty well.
Yeah, actually, that one I do.
We keep getting fucking reminded of that one, so.
But also just because it was like a web comic and like there was this weird like wacky guy.
I remember being excited by the promise and devastated by the reality.
Yeah. That's the tagline for our podcast.
That on a shirt. Excited by the promise, devastated by reality. Who's Your Mummy?
That one had mummy vampires in it, and I think that one was actually kind of good.
Is that where they go away to live with? Yeah, that one was cool. That one actually...
They want to eat their hair and all that. And
yeah.
What?
Yeah. That's the one where they... Yeah, Chad, that's the one where they go and stay at the uncle's house. And yeah, that one kind of rocks because it's so stupid.
They want to eat hair?
Yeah, they want to eat hair because the hair has the enzyme in it that makes the mummies live forever.
The hairs are their money.
Yeah.
So are the worms.
Yes.
I understand that reference.
My friends call me Monster was the other one I kind of remember.
Bad story, but good moments. But good, like, I like, Michael is actually cool. And Michael is the most memorable, and they use him the most in this one that we read today.
Michael decks the shit out of Jackson.
He punches Jackson in the stomach, which, repeatable behavior, RL. You can't do that.
Yeah, that's how Houdini died. He read this book. He tried to repeat it with his friends.
His biggest friend punched me in the stomach. I want to see what that's like. I agree. I think my Monster Michael is one of my favorite of the Goosebump protagonists. Say cheese and die screaming.
Pictures.
That was
pictures of you.
But they like weren't predictive. They were like changing reality, and that one. The rules were different in that one.
And you know, she took a picture on top of like the high dive board or something. Like she was competing with that other guy. Like, yeah, I remember some. Well, now we're getting closer is the thing.
Yeah, we were. But the thing, Welcome to Camp Slither. Maybe I missed that episode. I don't remember a single thing. About
that was
snakes.
Snakes. It was a ridiculous one. It just they ended. There were just snake people, and they wanted to eat things.
And then unfairly, Help We Have Strange Powers
Which I haven't
is
read.
the last one before Horrorland. Yeah, of course. I'll remember the kids that are psychic, that are Akira kids. I'll remember them.
Right, and like if you look at what happened here, I mean, I don't even know about Welcome to Camp Slither. You can drop that one, but you have My Friends Call Me Monster, Say Cheese and Dice. Let's just look at like Dr. Maniac versus Robbie Schwartz, My Friends Call Me Monster, and Help We Have Strange Powers. Those are the only ones that have kids that I think have like recognizable, like we talked about, like powers or like things that have occurred that have made them interesting to our main story here. You could have done that small group of kids plus Lizzie and Luke. That's like what, 5 or 6 kids, and they could have been the core, and they could have had powers, and they could have ran into the other kids who aren't powerful, and just let them be kids that they.
I did not need Billy and Sheena deep.
No,
because at no point did they go, does anyone have any questions about fish? I can answer questions about aquatic life.
They could have had science powers or ghost science powers.
They couldn't even identify the skeleton fish that were in that fish tank in the weird doctor's office that becomes.
Why
are you here if you can't identify the fish?
Like
that, Chad. That's actually pretty. Like, why are if RL had asked that question about any of these characters, why are they here? Like, what is their arc? What are they here to do for the story?
There's too much. There's too many pieces that don't matter, that add confusion and that muddle the story up. Ultimately, it became a line-orama for the last 10 chapters, right, guys? Like it became kids responding, and multiple kids had to respond because he had to remind us where that all these kids were here. He had to give them something to do, and then. The cavalcade of marketable monsters, Kevin, as you called them. When the marketable monsters show up, it literally is them all. They just make fun of each other for 2 chapters. They literally are picking on each other, and you're just sitting there.
And they get subsumed into the blob, where they're just a whole party of gaggling monsters.
Yeah, at some point, Monster Blood should have just expanded into a big Katamari Damacy ball.
Yeah,
and Slappy could be the little prince, just pushing him around, and they just have everyone in there, and they even the creature from the teacher episode. Sure, they're there, whatever.
Yeah,
just have them pick up mass and keep rolling around.
Yeah, it's great. I love it. That's better. It's better than what we got. I love it.
I would love to hear. Yeah, I think the part, if you had told me this book has a turn where I'm a sucker for villains team up, right? Whenever that's a thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, team rocketing.
Team rocketing. When Wacky Races does it. When Disney did House of Villains, when Kingdom Hearts had all the Disney villains hanging out together, I'm like, that's fucking interesting. I'm kind of curious. What would Jafar say to Ursula if they were seeking the heart of darkness? What would they talk about?
Recruiting Magus in Chrono Trigger.
Yeah. Yeah. No, villains are cool when they have a cool motivation. We all know what makes a good villain at this point, right? It's when you can look at them and you go, well, you're really fucked up, but you do have kind of a point with what you're why Thanos was right works, right? It's well, I don't think it's right what he's doing, but it is hey man, this fucking universe is overpopulated as hell. Something's got to be done about it.
Yeah,
right?
And you could be a logic. I know I've been a logic police in a lot of this. You could be. I know the CinemaSins of why didn't Thanos snap his fingers and just double the food population? It's that's not what he believed in. It was a flawed thought process. I don't know if any of these monsters have a
It also wasn't important for the story. It also just wasn't.
Oh yeah, well then,
that wouldn't have been interesting.
My favorite question, I get so many executive notes all the time. We're why don't they just do that instead? It's well, then we wouldn't have a story, then would we?
Right.
Yeah. I don't say that because I'd get fired, but that's what always goes in my head. Yeah, I think what motivates Slappy, right? Other than he wants slaves,
he wants to conquer.
Seems to be his
no, that's it. Slappy wants to conquer. He wants to push people in the mud and laugh at them and control. That's what Slappy wants to do. What does Dr. Maniac want? nothing. He's a child. Like, he
Dr.
just
Maniac
laughs.
wants to create the scariest park that's ever existed. So, okay, let's fix
No,
it.
not
That's
Dr.
the Menace.
Maniac.
Oh, sorry,
That's
sorry,
the
sorry.
Menace.
This is the
Menace.
problem. We
Yeah,
have
right.
multiple.
Oh my god, Menace and many asses.
Many asses.
Many asses.
This book has too many anonymous monikers. We have Mr. X or Monster X.
Yep.
Right? Which was someone we had never met before. We have the Menace, so we never know his name. And then before we met the Maniac again, he was also called like the Terrifier or something.
Yeah.
In the previous books.
Yeah. Here's what I'm gonna. I'll throw out a fix. This is the quick fix that it just came to my mind.
Oh, finally, because this is savable.
We can save this. So the Menace wants to make the scariest park that's ever existed. Okay.
Mhm.
And he has another park that's an alternate universe. We can still have all of that stuff. The kids are showing up, and we don't have to do all 16 kids. We pick a core group of good kids. They're getting sent to Horrorland, and they're encountering all these horrors. But something is afoot in Horrorland. Things are getting a little too scary, a little too real, and these mirror things keep appearing, and ghosts are appearing in them, and kids are disappearing. And a couple of the kids disappear. The Menace shows up. And he pulls, and he's trying to take over Horrorland, and they all get pulled into his alternate universe. We still get to have them go to Panic Park. We still get to have them experience Panic Park, see what happened to this guy. They all escape, but the Menace escapes with them back into Horrorland. And now the Menace is free to make Horrorland into the worst, most terrible park. All of their parents are there, and their parents are going to be killed if they can't stop the Menace. And the Menace is doing the fear meter, still happening. And it's when this hits 100, my park will engulf the world. Whatever, like
Sure.
And your parents,
it'll be a world of park.
and the park will take over the world, and your parents and you will live in endless fear. And then they have to defeat the Menace by showing him that he's not scary, and still do the same thing. But it's like, fucking ground it in something and give him some sort of like clear goal.
Give him a goal. Give him an I want. Like I feel like
he wants to get back to the modern day.
What?
But why?
What if you make the Menace Horrorland's biggest fan?
Yeah.
What if you make him obsessed with Horrorland? Just loves every part of it. Loves the monsters.
Oh my god!
But what he wants more than all is for the scares to be real. Like, he's pushed it as far as it can go, as far as like fake outs. But the thing he wants most is to actually kill people with the park and get actual fear.
Okay.
And that's where he crosses the line. And then we get a confirmation, which would end the story of Horrorland, the most marketable, like, non-slappy entity of Goosebuds. But it would be Horrorland never actually kills anyone. Like, it is all kayfabe.
Yeah.
But the Menace shows up and is like, what if it did kill, though?
Right.
Would that be better?
I even though I still stand by that I think people die in Horrorland, Kevin, I like your pitch. I like that's the distinguishment, right? Is like I want to amp things up enough.
But which Horrorland are we talking about? Are we talking about the one that's a reality show for monsters? Are we talking about the one that exists here? Are we talking about the one that is in the game?
Yeah, even that one I was like, well, I guess they like I thought there'd still be some kids dying in the reality show one. Can I pitch mine? I think those are both great guys.
Let's hear it.
I want to pitch, and I was thinking about it, where RL has said that he writes the titles first. I think when he pitched all these titles to his editor and publisher, he did not know Streets of Panic Park was going to be Horrorland related. I think he was like, yeah, that'll be like a neighborhood park with a swing that kills you, right? Like he just had some other thing. And then as he started working, I was like, oh, maybe Panic Park could be part of it, but now there's 2 amusement parks. Fuck. What do I do? Panic Park, it's its own thing. It's a neighborhood park with a bench on it that if you sit on it, it kills you. Whatever. We'll figure out Panic Park later. Escape from Horrorland is self-contained. You still build this stuff up, but it ends in Horrorland. There is no plot cul-de-sac of let's escape this place and get to Panic Park and then go back to Horrorland where we really want to be, I guess. It is, we are the few of us who have survived these books have all ended up in Horrorland in more interested ways than just we got a ticket that fed our ego saying very interested person and got here. What do we do? And we lean into the reality show content side of it. We are like, we are doing the end of Running Man. Spoilers for Running Man.
Okay.
Where we are like, we're breaking out of the TV show the stage where we're being hunted for sport. And now we are getting into the monster studio. We are like running through Monster CNN, and we are punching out
Monster Wolf Blitzer.
Yeah, I was gonna say Wolf Blitzer.
You gotta say Wolf Blitzer.
Oh, did I? I was starting to come to it. I was like, oh, Wolf, but I was like, oh, it's a pun, like a werewolf Blitzer. Like,
that's pretty good. Yeah.
Yeah, right. Werewolf Blitzer, and we were finally gonna discover like who runs this thing, and I don't know, maybe there's some joke end of the monsters loved it. It's the best season of Horrorland they've ever had. You know what? You guys just got renewed for 10 seasons. You'll be here forever. Whatever. But like, you let it be about Horrorland and what you've already established about Horrorland, not this bullshit of like, here's the new shiny panic park that is supposed to be more interesting than Horrorland.
I feel like new things keep getting added because if you don't add new things, then you have to answer the questions you raised with the old
That's
things.
what I was going to bring that up too, Paul. Like, I was like, wait a minute, maybe it isn't a bug that there are 16 kids. Maybe
right.
That's a feature.
Exactly.
There's 16 kids. He never has to like characterize any of them. They can just like pop out when he needs them and disappear when he doesn't.
Right.
Like, maybe to him, that's like his most genius solution, is everyone will write it off as me being over ambitious, but really, I just don't want to characterize a kid.
What if all 16 kids go? Now you guys make me think about Battle Royale.
Are we gonna get through the plot? Like, do we?
Oh, I mean, I figured that was it. Yeah, what was the rest of the plot? We
didn't
said
get
the monster...
to Shake Shack. We didn't get to.
Oh, yeah, he takes them to Shake Shack and they all get burgers.
The Shake Shack.
We alluded to Shake Shack at the beginning of this podcast, which was just a room that shakes you around a lot.
Most of the things they encounter are just shaking them. It literally.
Yeah.
It literally is a book of kids being shaken or dropped from high heights.
The quote, 10 horror movies at once happens, and I think that's an unintentional dunk. Yeah, Michael gets a monster face. There's the ultimate sarcastic line from the Menace who's, how's that working for you, partner? Glad you complained. And I'm like, is that directed at us? Is RL going to give us monster heads?
I was feeling a little bit, yeah. Yeah, the villain, the iconic villains all show up and say they were hired by the Menace to scare the kids.
Yeah.
So that means the monsters of these series are motivated by money.
Or fear. Maybe they were paid in fear. Maybe there's like a fear
it was
stipend.
like Monsters Incorporated.
We now know that fear is like a measurable thing that we can put into a thermometer or a bracelet or whatever.
Right.
So maybe like fear is the mana of like the Goosebumps verse.
It sure seems like it.
Yeah, that's actually, it's like all real monsters. Like they actually need all of the monsters need the fear in order to exist, which would explain their behavior.
But is there any moment where like, I don't know, the swarm of haunted masks like get them out of a jam, or I don't know, Slappy is like, oh, actually, I'll get us through this mannequin forest because I can speak mannequin or whatever, and he like pukes vomit on all the mannequins.
All that really happens in that regard is that the monsters are like, he's trying to scare you, go laugh at him, right? And like that's like they like ultimately they're teaching them that they're
camp counselors.
Yeah,
they're guidance counselors.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like they've taught them
monsters.
Not. I know. Oh my god, I don't know.
It makes Slappy and everyone else retroactively not scary. That they're just like, yeah, you know what? Let's all team up and we'll just move as one big union. They're unionizing, which is almost kind of cool. Chad, that is a real generous and nice way to put this.
Yeah.
It's a pro-union book.
And then they go in the whirlwind, and that takes them home.
Yeah, they like it has like the ending is that they have to face down the Menace. They think they've been tricked at the last second by all of the camp counselor monsters into going in and facing him down, and that he was going to actually scare them to death. And that this is one final trick. This whole book or this whole series is predicated on the idea that who are we to trust? And I don't think anyone writing the books knew who to trust, because I don't think anyone knew what was going on. But then they get to this final sequence, and then Lizzie, they finally give somebody a moment of doing something, you know. But all that Lizzie,
moment of doing,
a moment of being like, oh, I've got.
Is this before or after the Menace reveals he has a reality computer where he goes, hold on, are you guys singing Kumbaya at me? And he types, put worms in their mouth, and then suddenly there's just worms in their mouth.
I have no mouth, but I'm a scream machine. Boots up. He makes worms come out of their mouth. They get really grossed out by it. And Lizzie's like, hold on. I have this book of toilet humor jokes that was written by a jovial Bob Stine. I have a jovial Bob Stine book on hand. Let's read the jokes from it at the bad guy. And that's how the book ends, as they make jokes until he dies. And then their parents...
No, he doesn't. He shrinks into nothing, so maybe
they made
he's
jokes,
in the quantum realm.
They made jokes until he died.
You don't live through that, Chad.
No, Janet Van Dyne went to the quantum realm for 20 years. We saw that.
Oh, he's got a great point. He's got a great point.
Quantumania.
It's not over. There's a chance for this series to make a comeback. Thank God.
The Menace is a tiny little, it's like inner space, but the Menace is in there going, I'll do anything to your body. It's like Conor O'Malley, just like, I'll do anything. Just like biting your blood veins.
But okay, we get home. Lizzie gets home.
Yeah, they got that's what I clarify. The Menace had a ride in Panic Park called the Whirlwind.
Yeah,
that teleports you to the real world,
which he showed to the children and was like, "This is real. This exists."
So just like use that to get back to reality.
And it's so annoying. No, I mean he shows it to them, and then they're like, "Well, he showed it to you so that you would think not to use it." What? What?
Yeah.
I hate the Menace, guys. I think the Menace is one of the worst characters Goosebumps has ever had.
The Menace.
The Menace.
Yo.
Menace.
Is that Pauly Shore? Pauly Shore is the Menace?
Yeah.
Does that make you like him a little more?
Yeah, a little bit. Oh, the Weasel.
Whoa, the Menace.
Menace.
I'm going back to Indiana to meet my fiance's farmer family.
I kind of like this guy.
Carla Gugino, really? You brought the Menace home? Ah.
Oh, shit. Yeah, I mean, but I mean, they get home. Kevin, they ride the ride.
Me?
It takes them home, and they find their parents, and they go home.
Their parents have no idea, so there's any consequences.
Like, how is this supposed to be a satisfying ending to me? I didn't. Nope. Nobody learned anything. Nothing changed.
I like that Lizzie also sees like a horror just like peeping on her. She's like, "Are you Ned?" And the horror's like, "Yeah, it's me." And then just like, thanks for answering who Ned was.
Yeah, we all understand who you are and what you did, Ned.
They'll never know how much you sacrificed for them, Ned. She says as she walks away.
Oh, Ned, say your famous catchphrase to us one last time. Ned, remind us of your defining character trait.
I'm gonna eat your nipples, he says as he walks away. I was like, oh no.
Ned.
Ned.
He will, though. Walk faster. And then Slappy shows up and he says, ready to start a whole new story, because he's come home with Lizzie. Now Lizzie and Slappy are a thing. And is ready to start a whole new story.
Say the line, Kevin. Say the line.
This one will really give you goosebumps. Ha 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 ha. Bump, 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 bump.
Guess what, kids? I've been pulling my punches up until right now.
I think RL really wanted this to be the last book.
I think so too.
So did I.
I think he was Akira Toriyama, and he was like, I'm done. Gohan has defeated Cell. This is the end of the story. And then Shonen Jump or Scholastic brought a big truckload of money and was like, what else you got?
Keep that Slappy train running.
Killer robots, maybe?
It's the crazy thing is, like, this feels like it was like him testing the grounds for the movies, right? And the movies are the ultimate best version of this, right? Like taking that idea of like,
best is a strong word.
I think they are the best version of what I railed against in the very beginning of this, which is let's put all the meals together, right? Like
Yeah.
Like, if we're gonna dump all the toys out of the toy box, that's, I guess, the ideal version of it that came out of it in that first movie, right?
Maybe it's time to just put the toys back in the toy box.
Play with one toy at a time.
You can't put Slappy in the toy box. They've tried. He gets out of there.
He gets out of everything.
He does.
He always gets out.
Throw him in a wood chipper, and then a little slug comes out and goes into another dummy. You could never stop him. The power of Slappy.
Is he a slug? I guess he is a slug.
At one point, there was a slug in him. At one point, he was a yerk.
I thought he was made of coffin wood, and that's why he's bad.
Maybe that goo that came out was residual, like sap from a tree. I'm not crazy. There was like a goo slug that came out of one of them.
It's a sap slug, is what you're saying. Okay, I can buy that. It formed itself.
There was one. Back me up, listeners. There was a little worm in one of them.
I think you're right. No, it sounds right, Chad.
If you want to tell Chad that there was a little worm in one of those, you best be changing your Patreon tier to do so.
Yeah, a better way to do it. Can I say what I wish we had read instead?
Okay, let's hear it.
Besides,
you mean what do you mean by that? What do you mean by that?
I mean, I always wish we were an Animorphs podcast instead, but
why don't we do that?
Why don't we do that?
Why don't we just do that?
I don't know. Maybe our patrons can tell us that's okay to do.
Why don't we just decide for ourselves?
The people have to decide, Kevin.
Maybe we just do. Maybe we just don't.
Is there's another R.L. Stine book that I had completely forgotten about. I'm surprised we have not read it in the 8-year legacy of the show. It was pointed out the plot of this book of a amusement park from the past taking over the present amusement park is also used in another R.L. book called The Beast. Do you guys know about The Beast?
No, I don't know about The Beast.
I am surprised. The Beast is my favorite roller coaster of all time.
Okay.
The Beast is a real life roller coaster in Kings Island, somewhere in the Midwest. I forget which place that was called.
Okay.
It's like Cedar Point, but not as cool.
Okay.
But it has, at least at its time, I believe the longest wooden roller coaster.
Okay.
It will fuck you up. Like, speaking of being shaken, that is a scary ride, and you're like, I don't think this track will hold together.
Wow.
But it fucking rocks.
And you're telling me they made a book out of it?
They made a book based off the amusement park ride called The Beast, written by R.L. Stine. There's a sequel, one called The Beast 2, because I think there was a remake of the roller coaster called like Revenge of the Beast. So there is a real world metaphysical ARG thing going into. I loved that roller coaster. R.L. wrote it was marketed more as from the guy who wrote you Fear Street. Here comes.
Let's read
Beast.
it. Let's freaking read it.
Let's
man.
read it.
Yes.
It's probably the same plot. The kids are going to get scared.
I want to read it. I would like to switch things up and try some different stuff for a little bit before we dive back into Horrorland.
Because
I need a break.
We are halfway through Goosebumps Horrorland. I hate to tell you, Paul. I think you were looking forward to Hope. Kevin, I can feel you the same way. We are 12 out of 19 books.
Wow.
I
wow.
don't know if I can do that.
But one of them is The Wizard of Ooze, and Wicked is really popular right now.
Okay. All right.
I'm holding space for The Wizard of Ooze.
I've got hope.
I don't know if I do.
No, I don't have hope. I'm lying.
I have no hope. But maybe Fear Street, maybe The Beast, maybe we read other YA books not written by R.L. Stine, an author who cares about us more.
A patron on our Discord just posted about a book that I'd never heard of called The Monsters Ring by R.L. Stine, that Joe Richter. They said that it was a book that blew their mind in the 80s, mid-80s. So I'd love to check that out. I think revisiting maybe some of the earlier stuff of RL would be really fun because sometimes it's interesting to see a moment where he was, maybe actually trying.
Yeah, maybe before Hope hadn't left him.
I don't think that it was a thing.
I feel like in Hark, in Invaders and Badlands of Hark, as awful as those were, at least I don't know. I felt like there was a little. I think you're right. I don't think this guy wants to write horror stories at all.
Well,
I think he
just wrote a story where laughter defeats himself as the horror.
That's what
writer.
he wants. He wants to tell jokes.
He laughed at himself to death.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, has that been a bump, guys?
This has been a bump. This has been a bud. If you want to dictate the direction we go next, the best way to do that is to go to patreon.com/goosebuds. With your support of the show, get you access to many awesome things depending on which tiers you pick. One of them is voting on which way we go next. I think we make a big old poll that is like, y'all, what are we doing? We doing more Horrorland? We doing The Beast? We doing Animorphs? We doing early RL? We just start reading Stephen King? What are we doing, guys? Can we just start reading Dan to Dan instead? Can we read Dan to Dan manga every month?
We're over the hump with Horrorland. We can finish out Horrorland, but then we have a couple of new series coming up. We've got Hall of Horrors. We've got Goosebumps Most Wanted. And then, guys, and we know this is what we thought Horrorland was going to be. Slappy's World is going to be what Horrorland was supposed to be, right?
Slappy's World. We also have the upcoming TV series has got a second season coming.
Yeah.
The Schwimmer, David Schwimmer.
Got to swim in
David
it.
Schwimmer, I know.
It's gonna be.
Oh man, it's gonna be a blast on that one.
It's gonna have Greenzo in it.
You gotta have Greenzo.
Honestly, I'm gonna make a call right now. I'm going to guess that Greenzo's third act turn in that episode of 30 Rock, where power goes to his head, is more terrifying than anything David Schwimmer does in Goosebumps season 2. Genuine guess.
I would love to take you up on that bet, Chad.
But yeah, go to patreon.com/goosebuds. Not only get to vote on where we're going next, you get access to our Discord, which is a really rad community. You also, if you pledge the camp tier, you get access to our bonus Camp Goosebud episodes we put out every month, which is all us just hanging around the digital campfire, talking about things we love and enjoy, things we're going through. It's the strongest. It's the strongest of the buds, I think, is our camp episodes, if I be honest.
It's certainly the most joyous.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know, it's the happiest of the buds. It's like if you went to camp with us, right? But it was like fat camp, and you had to run all day.
Or the movie Fat Camp with Ben Stiller.
Yeah.
Heavyweights.
Yeah.
It's like heavyweights, and there's these episodes. But now, afterwards, we all get to go back to the cabin. Ben Stiller is off in his own private cabin. He's not messing with us. And we all get to just hang out with Goldberg and Kenan Thompson.
And eat deli meats.
And eat deli meat. Just raw deli meat.
I do want to clarify that we are despairing after this book, but I assure you, we are having... The three of us have a good time together, and we are.
Oh yeah, I had a blast talking.
I feel like I'm bringing us down a little bit. I'm not sure. I'm not sure.
Kevin, I feel that was someone on me. I spent the last year plus prophesizing about the promised land that would be actual Horrorland, and it was. We showed up, and like the end of National Lampoon's Vacation, Wally's World was closed down.
Yeah,
you know.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
That's exactly what it was.
Yeah.
And then John Candy showed up, and we pulled a gun on him.
We made him let us ride the beast.
Yeah. I want to take you guys to how good would that? What if
go on.
We had a certain amount of patrons that we all go to Kings Island in Ohio or wherever it is
and ride the beast,
and we record an episode riding the beast. We all put on lav mics, and we talk about it the entire time we're on the beast.
Yeah, I can see it.
Goosebuds beast mode.
Goosebuds fast.
But not talking about Transformers, unfortunately.
Well, if you want to make that happen, go to patreon.com/goosebuds and join today.
Also, check us out on Blue Sky. I think we are pretty much done on the other social media site. We're on Blue Sky app as Goosebuds Pod. We're trying to share stuff, audio, images, things like that as you listen. It's a good way to help spread the show as well.
And we're all hanging there. All three of us.
Hanging there. Paul is logged on officially.
Paul logged on. I haven't done too much, but I logged on.
Kevin, anything else? Or Paul, anything else to check out? Continue, of course. New episodes every Wednesday.
Yeah, Continue.
Yeah, Continue's going great. We're playing. In our most recent session, I had some good, strange, and very obscure games. So if you like, I feel like we're really moving into that area. It's either going to be a wee trash game, some sort of branded IP game that probably is terrible, or an extremely obscure Japanese game. That's kind of our cycle right now. So if any of those things are appealing to you, go to Continue Show and subscribe.
I love all those things.
I love the obscure Japanese games.
Those are my
especially
favorite.
when you played like that treasure beat 'em up a while ago.
Yeah.
That was just wild to look at.
There's some sick ones. Oh, that one, I love that one with the knights. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, those are my games. Those are the games that I have forced onto the show, and I mostly am there to play it's mostly there for me to play them.
Well, they're pretty sugoi.
Agreed. Oh, Decione.
What does Segoy mean? I'm a gaijin that doesn't know. What does Segoy mean?
It's cool.
It's cool. Awesome.
It's cool.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Cool. Segoy.
Segoy.
Segoy Decione.
Disney.
GiveKevinMoney.com.
Please.
Supertry.itch.io.
Super try.
Yeah.
Chad, what do you got? What do you got, Chad? Chad, tell us what you got.
Yeah, Chad.
I'm working on a secret thing.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm working away on something you probably won't see for another year or two. But otherwise, yeah.
Goose on down the Goosebumps.
Thank you all for listening. Thank you guys for being my friends and reading another book with me.
Thanks, guys.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you.
Love you. Bye.
Love you guys. Bye.
This episode of Goosebuds is brought to you by our wonderful Patreon supporters, especially the ones found within the Book of Names.
The Book of Names.
Now, we do need to note that the Book of Names was recently split in half. We won't assign any blame to how it got split in half.
Yeah.
Patreon split the church.
So we had to build a new Book of Names, and there are some names that have been written down in it, but we will be picking up the shattered and tattered and falling apart husk and reading the old names from it too. But please, if your name is in the old Book of Names, you must update your name to the new Book of Names, please, before it falls apart.
Please.
This month is the last month the old Book of Names will be held together with duct tape and dreams, and you gotta update. Your Patreon.
The old magic is dead. Long live the new magic.
I'm holding the new book in my hands, and it's vibrating subtly with power, and the first name that jumps out to me is Lowbelly Hate Me.
Hollis Hornbeak.
Nathan Dolezal.
Hey, Josh Rob.
Afsheen.
Stealth, a beautifully fleshed skeleton Bates.
Oh, Robert Moon.
Jason Crooker.
DM me. I'll tell you about the Rite Aid fraud. Okay.
What?
Yeah, that's
Okay,
nice.
yeah, I'd like to know. Yeah.
I want to know.
The Juggalobalist would like to know as well.
Aiden is doing shots of Skittles Littles.
Whoa, they made those?
Ooh.
Is that like mini M&Ms?
I feel like it's just sugar. Like, it gets small enough. It's just sugar. Gregory D. Warren.
All of us are really just eating different textures of sugar. Levi Than.
The John D. and Catherine T. MacArthur Foundation. Also made of sugar.
And bones. Sugar and bones. That's all Skittles is sugar and bones. And sometimes bugs. Yanni Markovina.
Carl.
Brooke X.
Christian Vanskiver.
Zach Connor.
Carson Brookenbean.
Tevin Ticklebean whispers, rich people are a scam, and releases the arrow.
The Arrow.
Hell yeah! Get him. Thunk. Right in the head.
Wink.
Luke. Period.
Wow.
Matt McClellan.
Juan Jalapena.
Keith Halcrow.
Clay McCarty. Yow Gargarin.
Matthew Sutton.
You did
I
it.
did that one again. I did that
You
wrong.
did
I
it.
didn't say the right term.
Night. Okay.
Clay McCarty, a.k.a. Yowie Gargarin.
Okay.
Gagarin.
Gagarin. Yowie Gagarin.
Gagar. Yeah, just throw an Irish accent on it. It'll fix
Yeah.
it.
yeah, I'll fix it. Matthew Sutton.
Russell Casberg.
Sarah Kemp.
MC Hamster commits his body to the ice.
Good. Your
Welcome.
warmth will melt it.
No.
Yo. Otis Platterman.
Kieran McNamara.
Nothing's hotter than an MC Hamster streak.
Coleman Laguza.
Jonas Enevoldsen.
Bryce Urey.
Meta for the metaphor. New music coming soon.
Cool. Some of Chad's bird friends.
Nicholas Maloney.
Need more kimchi.
Logan Derby.
Callum Monster Misfire West.
Generally depressing.
Philip Reynolds.
Nate Bit G.
Ryan R. Davis.
Scott Wable.
Resident Lorcana guy. Get them inks and those colors and lore points, my guy.
May your lands always be Disneylands.
Nice. Oh, damn, that was good. Evdog is impressed.
Gluten-free Rocky Mountain Oysters.
Megan McCormick Mason.
Sprinkle buns.
Mike Hart.
SSJ Trogdor.
Cassandra Harris.
Max Boltzmann.
Farah. Ring?
Mike Spaghetti Jones.
Questo Gobblingo. Great guy, good lord, what the hell?
I like that one, Quest. Kyle O'Neill.
Red Baron.
Saturn Video.
Kiwi of Lerv.
Hurt a.k.a. Cyberbully.
Max is a box that shoots death. Oh no.
Huh.
Logan Kilgus.
Feratu, vampire at law.
Phil Force, prophet of Paul Christ.
Whoa.
Your god is an awesome god. Whoops. Deleted it. Whoops, deleted it.
Nope, it's back. It's fine.
It's fine. The book is fine. Problem Child 2 on DVD. I'm looking for Solution Adult.
So John Ritter was. He was the solution of the... Actually, he wasn't very good at solutions either in that.
Yeah, he was the real problem child.
Whoa.
Odin's _ eye hole.
J. Farr's Ice Mall is excited to announce we are opening 2 new stores, Paranoia Shop and Wonder Skin Emporium. Come on down today. My lawyers will be contacting you soon, J. Farr.
Bob Cabbage.
You okay?
Bob Cabbage. Bob Cabbage.
Bob Cabbage. Gage!
Now listen here, Jack. This is Bob Cabbage.
Tim I. Healy.
MC Fright.
Caleb and Michael watched Transformers 1 and it was way better than Transformers 5. Why did you guys tell us to watch that one?
Because the number is higher.
So it makes it better.
Lumo Nuva.
Tall glass of dumb bitch juice might actually be pee.
Oh no.
Oh, no.
Well, let's just try it and find out.
Yeah, better drink it.
It's sterile. Treehouse of Jorge 4 Resurrection.
Ooh. Carly Beth's parents, 808. Carly Beth has been at Horrorland for almost a year. Should we be getting worried? Nah, you're fine.
Nah, don't worry about it.
Big ol' dumb burb, cherried night manor! Exclamation
Nice.
point.
That rocks.
The names are splintering the realities of it a little bit.
Like the book itself. Felix.
Quinn!
Daniel Lavelle.
Nathan Golindo.
Mary Wolfmas!
Mary Wolfmas.
Mary Wolfness.
J. Fen Crane.
Eric.
Ari.
Respect me, daddy.
Ben Little, the best man for his best friend. That's what it says.
Haptic.
Family Truckster.
Smithios.
And Snack Reiner. Thank you all for being in the new Book of Names and shifting your tier to the new Camp tier, a monthly sub. Thank you so much for doing that and keeping the show going. And now here's the old Book of Names.
Oh, I'm cradling the old book. It's falling apart.
It's cutting my hands with its horrible pages, and it's disintegrating, and
If
it
you
smells.
are on this list, you need to go to patreon.com and shift your tiers, please.
Quickly, names flee. I can see the names fleeing. They're all running from the old Book of Names to the new one, and the first one that is running away is Stephen Jive Turkey Cool.
I was followed closely by Mickey C.
And then Buddy Morrill,
Alcade.
Mel Dibson.
Dango Twists,
Zan Tickles.
Brian Wells.
Clay Castle,
Miguel Pardo.
John Keaty.
Calf,
Cody Redfield.
Bradford Coulter.
Jar Jar Slinks,
Chosen One.
Up and Champ.
Jonas Engman.
Anthony Mulberry.
Elusive Koala.
Jesus Christ. Better make it over to the new name. I like saying Jesus Christ.
Jeremy Lowe.
Brian Hobb, good for you would be to go to the new Book of Names.
Joe, Spooky Digital Ghost. Tierney, you're gonna be a ghost if you don't get out of the Book of Names and into the new Book of Names.
Tom Whittam. Log into patreon.com.
Type your name.
Type your name.
Andrew Jadzik can't figure out how to ship a made brandy old-fashioned sour, but will gladly mail garlic dill pickles next summer. Thank you, Andrew. Mail your name to the new book, too.
Lord Cornwallis, you know what to do.
Murph EP. Very EP on down to the new Book of Names.
Rushy Glenn, do it quick.
I just thought you were getting... It's like, well, this one satisfies he could rush to the new Book of Names, and just do it quick was very, very funny. That's what your joke was. I'm explaining it. It was very funny. Chip Handsome.
Tanya Turtle.
Timothy Miso-Dulakis.
Ham_boat.
Raymond Hernandez.
The Crowfens, but seasonal.
Wow.
John Barber.
Jeff Coffey.
Kelsey Kinnaman.
Tobias Clark.
Xavier Jimenez Castillo.
Chris Putrakis.
Scotty Pippen.
Dungeon Kappa.
Zach Ware.
Lip Duck.
Meet Virginia.
Estamena, Lord of Paul's Pants.
Chris Handjob Ghost that came out of the TV Nelson.
Diet Soda.
Paul Grasso.
Joe, a regular name, Scott.
Lamb.
Woof, 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 woof.
You nailed it.
Thank you.
A pair of Scots.
Levi Kidder.
David Gray.
Hugh Bolin.
Zambambino.
The meatloaf.
Joe Gorman.
Interesting.
Burger's functioning replacement for Kevin's heart.
Burger, we know you're updating your name. Go over to patreon.com and update your tiers.
Andre Villanueva.
Thomas Jansis.
Eric Horwitz.
Tiffany Lee.
Lucretia McEvil.
Mutant Astronaut.
Henry Torbert.
Adam Knapp.
Reed Steubendiek.
Joey Evans.
Brad Schmelzer.
Jack.
Garewise Gamgee.
Swaggy Yellow Squire.
Cameron Hansen.
Yoplin.
The Deadly Bulb.
Ben Bohan.
Mr. Unimportant.
Calamity Carl.
Greg Musto.
Stinkletch.
Hi, first time, long time.
Ninja Bread Man.
Tacky Tammy.
Aaron Lord.
Dr. Chocula.
Oily_suds.
Robot Arena.
Big Nick Lane.
Kira and Brian are big fans.
Big Corner.
I gotta have my
with
big
us.
bump in the book of names, guys. I need you.
We need it.
Come with us, Big Corner.
Dan Antonio.
Postmaster.
Chris Curto.
Cole Gleason.
Jesse Boggs.
Michael Malloy.
Time Eats Flesh.
Soggy Newspapers.
Chris Kulik.
Dakota Kemp.
John W.
Anthony Stoker.
Brony_Danza.
Tan Your Hide wants more pretend friends and Goosebuds RPG. So do I.
This is gonna be fun. Wunderskin.
Wunderskin.
Wonderskin. I mean Skeetor.
Blarbin.
Starship 9.
Kit Bush.
Sierra Sin.
Dennis Wright.
Jover the Moon.
Cameron Ganzeveld.
Rat IRL.
Greg and his Gregorian chanting army of metal monks pledge their shred to Kevin. Thank you.
B.
Jeff, big baby, and his wife, not a big baby.
I like the deep B. S.
LOD.
Taraku, the thing that goes going to the dog.
Oh, we're having a deep off, huh? Glint, dear king. Duke.
I'm just going to say Agents Miskatonic, but imagine it was deep.
Kevin, do it in post.
That's not fair. Paul, your turn.
Spencer Y.
Nail 7.
Hey, Pelican. Capybaras are friends, not food.
Leave him alone.
Get out of there.
Thram Sleep.
The Strays.
Ben Floyosaire.
Yep.
Nice, nailed it. Edgar Crassus.
Jolly Old Jules.
Number 1 gnome.
The Shrekonomicon.
Angelo Edward Longton Santone.
It's Melodies.
Spencer Leith Johnston.
Taylor Garofalo.
Brian Udath.
Nintendo 60 Jorts.
Daniel Hirschberger.
Jostled 007.
Complex.
Mimel the Spooky Delph converts Chad's football career-ending Corvette into a Dracula.
Sick.
Yeah.
Adam G.
Crazy ass nipples.
C.L. Rudolph.
Whoa, seasonal. Justin.
Jim Corey.
Jackie Bay.
Jaybird.
The Yetis are declaring war with the Big Feet. Those bastards have had it too good for too long.
Get him,
Hopefully
Yeti.
the skunk apes will get in there and settle things.
God,
Too
bless
scary.
the skunk apes.
Tootin Watson.
Wyvern.
Angus Keith.
Shelly Castillo Garcia.
Nat_Noah.
Gun Bun.
Cameron Murphy.
Thanos Shack.
Mitch Show.
Patrick Nielsen.
Damon the Damon.
Andrew.
Steamed Ham.
Mike Simple Name.
Mike C.
3 days since the living room. Is that a B&L reference?
Foreboding.
They're doing it out month to month until
Until they have the whole song. That's an incredible idea.
they're doing it
Oh
line
my
by line.
God.
Oh my
Yeah.
god, please move to the new book of names so this works. Ventus 13.
Devin Dallin.
Dusty Burger.
Morgy Porgy. Puddin' Pie.
Autumn.
Noki Station.
Emily Donaldson.
Surely not unique.
And Avery. Again, thank you all for the support, but if you're on this last book, get to the new tiers. The water's rising. This book's floating out to the ocean. Hurry.
We
Hurry.
need you.
We love you all. Thank you.
We love you.
Help
Thank
us.
you. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Help
us.
Help.
Help computer.
This is a cry for help.
Help computer friends. Help friends who live in computer.
Help computer.
This is a cry for help.
Instead of stop all the downloading, keep downloading Goosebuds. We love you. Goodbye.
Well, goodbye. Thank you. Computer, help us.
Bye.